Okay, greetings everybody. Today on Talk with the Titans, we have the most esteemed Israel Doctrine. The show is entitled today, Shakka Ahmose versus Israel Doctrine, Codex Game Over, or is it Codex Error? Okay. So today on the panel we have from the Amin Ra squad, Brother Smash Rockwell, Jonathan from the Hieroglyphics. Peace, God.
What up? What up? How y'all doing? How everybody doing?
All right. Peace. And also we have all the way from England, we have Brother Isa Al-Arsh representing Shia Muslims in the UK.
Black Shia.
Black Shia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right. And we have the most posting, most controversial. I don't even know. There isn't even enough words to actually describe this brother. Brother Christopher. Peace.
Peace, man. Hotep, man. Peace.
Hotep. And also, well, we already know this is the star guest we've got on the show, Brother Israel Doctrine. Shalom, shalom, barakatuh.
Peace, everybody. How y'all doing?
Great stuff, great stuff. Peace. We have other members on the panel, but everybody's kind of muted out unless another brother wants to actually talk. We've got Brother Jigs. Brother Jigs, representing Field African Radio. How you doing?
Good. Salam, shalom, hotep. What's going on, family?
Yeah. Black African power. We're here. All right. So today we're going to be delving into Shakka Ahmose's book, Codex Game Over. I don't know if any brothers has had a chance to read any of his work or actually listen in to his YouTube videos. I know his YouTube videos have gone viral, all thanks to Sarnetta TV. So I know most of us here are aware of his work and aware of his work he's done with Islam, aware of his work that he's done with the Hebrew Israelites. But I'm here on Amazon.co.uk and Amazon.com, where his book is actually selling, and it's actually a bestseller at the moment. And we have it here on the UK site. It's going for £11.62. So I recommend everybody out there who's interested in the subject of biblical literature and ancient Egyptian literature, I do recommend everybody go out there and actually purchase it. So in saying that, this is what we're going to be discussing today. So the title of his book is called Codex. Codex is a book, and it's Game Over. Game over to who? I'm assuming it's game over to the Hebrew Israelites. Did he really body bag the Hebrew Israelites? Are they in the tomb? Are they in the sarcophagus? Are they really dead? Is it really game over? The book is subtitled, A Documented Collation of the Original Ancient Egyptian African Text and the Later Biblical Plagiarized Versions. Evidence you were not meant to see. So, this is the title of his book. His premise from the title of the book is, the biblical texts are a plagiarization of the ancient Egyptian text. Now, I'm going to open this up to the audience. I don't know. You let me know. Audience, let me know. Is this premise valid? Is the premise valid? Is the ancient Egyptian text the precursor for the biblical text? And did the biblical authors plagiarize the ancient Egyptian pyramid text? So I'm going to open that up first and foremost to Brother Israel Doctrine. Just give me your one-word answer. Is it plagiarization?
No, not at all.
No? All right, next in line. Who we've got here next? Brother Isa, is it plagiarization?
I would have to say yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay, we'll get back into that. Christopher, is it plagiarization?
Hey, can I be heard? Because you guys sound pretty low. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's plagiarized straight up.
Straight up plagiarized. Okay, brother Nihisi, are you there? Okay, we're gonna go over to.
Yes, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yep, yep, we can hear you. So is it plagiarized?
Oh, okay. I can't make no comment on that right now, brother.
So it's a no comment. You're pleading the fifth, right?
Yes.
Okay, there's a bit of a background noise, so if anybody's not talking, please just mute your mics. Okay, brother Jonathan, is this plagiarized?
I would say some of it is original and some of it is plagiarized.
Okay, this is very interesting. So we've got a mixed audience. We've got a mixed audience, some straight out saying yes, some straight out saying no, some is in the middle, some is a no comment. So I would like to know, based upon his premise, based upon his evidence he's given via his videos, and based upon his literature, his book, Codex Game Over, did he make the case and prove his point? Did he make the case that the book is actually, the Bible is plagiarized from the pyramid text? That's what I really want to know. And that's open to you, brother Israel Doctrine.
No, he didn't make his point at all because he didn't deal with cultural precepts. Oh, somebody muted me. He didn't make his scholarship sound enough. If he would have gave us the whole text and not just the phraseology in the text, 2 or 3 phrases that syncopate, then he would have did a better job probably with his scholarship and proving forth that it was plagiarized. But if it's not the same concept and stuff, it's not plagiarization. That's my argument.
Okay, it's open up to brother Jigs or brother Isa.
What's up, bro? You want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Oh, I would say that that is not plagiarized. There's similarities, but similarities don't always equal plagiarism. I think that you have to prove plagiarism. And like the brother just said, taking a word or taking 2 or 3 words or a sentence here and there and pulling them out of context does not prove plagiarism. It just proves that they use similar words or similar sentences. So I would say no.
Okay. So no, it's not plagiarism. Okay.
All right. From my perspective, I think the term plagiarism is what we're dealing with, because if we look at if some of what's in the Bible came from Kemet, it would appear so. But the plagiarism is suggesting an illegitimate taking something or an illegitimate claim, claiming to have something but not mentioning the source where you got it. So that's why I said yes and no, because the Bible does say that Moses was learned in the wisdom of the Egyptians. Can you all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
So if the Bible's saying that he was learned in the wisdom of the Egyptians, number one, it's attributing wisdom to the Egyptians. And then obviously if he's learnt that wisdom, he's going to teach that wisdom. And therefore what he taught obviously is going to be something which they went on to practice as their religion. And therefore you can clearly see that even the Bible gives the credence, or at least the New Testament gives credence of the knowledge that Moses taught to the Egyptians. So to me it's about the legitimacy. Like in the Old Testament it doesn't seem to. It says it's a spook God that gave it. Then the New Testament is saying, well, no, Moses was educated by the Egyptians themselves.
Indeed. So basically, how can the book be a plagiarism when it actually gives its reference, it cites its source, it gives credit to the ancient Egyptians for actually being the ones to foster, to educate, and to wax wise Moses in all the ways of the Egyptians? How can it be plagiarism when the Bible actually gives its credit where its source actually lies, or where maybe not its entire source but partial source lies? Okay, so I'm with you with that.
Because they're not projecting the historical Egyptians.
Sorry?
They are not. They're not projecting the historical Egyptians, us.
Okay.
So they're plagiarizing what I mean by, like, I get into a discussion with anybody. If they think it's an Arab, somebody run. They think Egyptians are like Middle Eastern people, like straight up. They believe this.
Indeed.
And by that factor, they're lying. So anyone thinking that they got it from off the top of a lie, it's all plagiarized because it comes from us. Because what they think the foundation is.
Let's make sure once again that we being specific with who we say when we say they. Because if you say they, the Hebrew Israelites, or they, the Israelites, then that is a misnomer because it's not all.
You're right. We're being generic.
It's specific ones that you done heard speak on it in general, just like we're talking about Shakka and his book, or if you heard his video on it on Sinetta, or you heard people responding to it and they're making certain statements, then you need to be precise with who you say they, because I'm here and I'm not a part of the they, even though people will put me in the same context as all the rest at times, and sometimes they might take me away from it, subtract me. Indeed. So let's be specific when you say to Zariak, say Shaw, say Nasi, or whoever it may be that you have a discrepancy with, please. I would love to ask.
I respect that.
I respect that. Okay, now brothers, please, no cutting into another person's space. Okay, let everybody just finish their talk, and then you can talk afterwards. But now we're actually going to go straight into Jonathan. Jonathan, could you answer the same question for us?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, the question was, based upon what Shakka Ahmose is saying via his YouTube videos and via his book, did he substantiate the claim that the Bible was a plagiarism of the ancient Egyptian text?
Well, I only got to skim over some of his book. I didn't get to read the whole thing, and I only got to look at a few of his claims. But like I weighed in earlier, I said some of it is original and some of it is plagiarized. And in the honor of that, we will mention. Anybody got a Bible with them? Israel, all right, it's cool. We'll talk about the comparisons between Amenope and the Book of Proverbs. All right, we can actually illustrate these comparisons right now for the listeners. If we go to Proverbs 22 and 22, we read, "Rob not the poor, for he is poor, neither oppress or crush the lowly in the gate." And if we switch to Amenope, which comes before Proverbs, we read, "Beware of robbing the poor and oppressing the afflicted." So Proverbs say, "Beware of robbing the poor and oppressing the lowly." And Amenope before him said, "Beware of robbing the poor and oppressing the afflicted." Now some could say some of these things, yeah, Proverbs 22. All right, you could go to Proverbs. I hear some sound. I don't know where that sound is coming from.
Brothers, if you're not speaking, can you please mute your mics so we can all hear the actual speaker clearly? Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. We go to Proverbs 22 and 17. Yeah, I see you got the screen. 22:17 and 18, we'll read, "Incline thine ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply thine heart to my doctrine. For it is pleasant for thou keep them in thy belly, that they may be established together among thy lips." But if we go to Amenope in chapter 1, we can compare word for word where they say, "Give thine ear." Now, in the sense that Shakka Ahmose pointed out that they said, "Let there be," and then they made a big sense out of somebody else saying, "Let there be," but then they went on to continue it. It had a complete different context. Here we see the opposite. We read, "Incline thy ear," and then we read where they got it from was, "Give thine ear," Next, they say in Proverbs, hear the words of the wise. And Amenope said, and hear what I say. Basically, he was the wise. And he says, apply thine heart and apprehend. It is good for thee to place them in thine heart. It says, let them rest in the casket of thy belly. Okay? So they're saying exactly the same things. We could talk about the words of the wise, applying them to your heart, and keeping them in your belly. This comes direct. And then it says that they may act as a peg upon thy tongue. That's what Amenope said, but Proverbs says that they may be established together upon thine lips. Now that's biting. That is plagiarism. I'm talking about when one MC takes another MC and just try to switch a few words to make it sound a little different. We call it biting. It's plagiarism in that sense of copying over the precepts of Amenope and repeating them without giving credit to Amenope. Now, I heard it said before that we gave credit to Moses as being schooled in all the words of the Egyptians, but again, even those who contend that Moses wrote any text, okay, that would only be limited to the Torah. You know what I'm saying? So that would not apply to any Proverbs or what have you. So I end at that.
Okay, so you're saying that the Proverbs is directly coming from Amenope's literature, and it's being taken over into the Bible. So now that's the claim you're making. I want to know, did Shakka Ahmose make that same claim?
I can't recall because I haven't looked over his text. If someone has reviewed his book, they can tell me whether he has or not, but I have not heard of him making that, which is a lot stronger claim, but go ahead.
Okay, so I see, hold on one second, brother. I see your claim and I see the correlation that is there. But the thing is, today we're not actually going to focus on whether there is that correlation there. We're actually trying to focus on whether Shakka Ahmose actually substantiates his claims.
Okay.
And I do feel that there are similarities inside of the Bible and the ancient Egyptian corpus as well. But now we have to prove that one group actually plagiarized it from another group. And that's something entirely different, which we can do later on in the show. But for now, we're going to move swiftly over to Israel Doctrine. He's got a PowerPoint presentation, a slideshow, that he is here to present on Shakka Ahmose's claims. Brother Israel Doctrine, are you ready to go in?
Yeah, I'm ready. When you're ready, I would like to say, though, that at the end of the day, we know that even from Dr. Ben's chronology, as well as We the Black Jews and different other texts that he have written over the years, that he states that Jesus went down and learned in a lodge. You know, mystery system is a part of the Israelite, you know, paradigm also, which if Moses was learned, he was learned in the mystery system of Egypt. Meaning,
can I elaborate on that before you go in?
1 second, I just want to finish the thought. So when you're dealing with a certain type of figure of speech and conversation of that nature, then that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with mystery system now, and you're dealing with somebody please mute yourself. You're dealing with mystery system language. So when you deal with a person like Solomon that speak wisdom, and he may have got them proverbs from anywhere or whatever, but at the same time he's just speaking in what you would call mystery system language or wisdom. So
Brother Israel, you're ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Drum roll. Okay. So, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you can't see my screen, please click on the icon at the bottom, my avatar, and you will be able to see my screen. So, I'm going to leave it in the capable hands of Brother Israel Doctrine to present his case.
And as I said, will you read for me? So if you could just read that right there, that's on the page, and
Okay.
introduce it.
So this book, the front page for everybody who can't see or can see and listening in, it is the front page or the front title of front cover of Shakka Ahmose's book, the most highly anticipated book of 2014 in the whole Black conscious community. It reads as follows: Codex, Game Over, a documented collation of the original ancient Egyptian African texts and the later biblical plagiarized versions. Evidence you were never meant to see by Shakka Ahmose, Saber, SBA. False plagiarized claim, Volume 1, the Pyramid Text. So this is a false plagiarized claim written above, which I assume is Israel Doctrine's work. Should we go straight into the first page?
That is my addition to the cover for this PowerPoint, and as he said, correlation, and he's making a correlation between one particular text, which is the pyramid text, right? And then there's different versions of the pyramid text, and he went into the one that best denote or fit his reality. So with that said, let's go to the next page.
Okay.
This is what I got off his website. So we have A and B claim, and then A breaks down to AA and AB. Then we just go into B. It's not that long. It's just straight to the point, dealing with what he put on his website. Because I don't have his book, I'm not gonna buy his book. If he really want to debate it or whatever, then I will purchase the book, and then we could go line for line, you know. But go ahead, read that, bro.
Okay. I'm going to be an Hebrew Israelite for the day. And the Lord said, false plagiarized claim, eh? Shakka's claim?
Nah, just read normal.
The most important book ever written in the history of mankind. The game is finally over. Book content preview. The biblical copies and the original ancient Egyptian texts from which they were taken.
Okay, let's stop right there. Now, this could have been taken from the Greeks' literature, in which they stole and took from Egyptians, which we know in historical facts that's the situation, that they took some things, right? This could have been taken from a lot of places, but he's making a claim specific that it was taken from the ancient Egyptian text and not a text that was after that. So let's read.
Okay. 1a, the ancient Egyptian original. Thou wilt be born, parenthesis, again. And it's the utterance, 412732b, the pyramid texts. Ancient Egypt, 2400 BCE.
Now this statement is that someone will be born again. We'll see it later. We'll deal with the utterance, but read on.
B, over 2,000 years later, the Greco-Roman Christian Judeo copy, reworked from the Egyptian original.
So now he's saying it's reworked from the Egyptian original, not another that was a carbon copy of a carbon copy. He's saying that King James, or the writer of whichever gospel or epistle that he puts in this, went to the original, the primary on the wall, or a copy of that text, and translated or read the translation and then put it in the Bible. This is his claim. This is how I see his claim. Now, if it's not, then if y'all don't see it the same, hopefully y'all speak on it later. But read on.
Quote, for you have been born again. 1 Peter 1:23 or 23. The 2nd century CE, i.e. AD. Quote, except a man be born again. John 3:3, 1st century CE 1, i.e. AD. Quote, ye must be born again. John 3:7, 1st century CE, i.e. AD. The New Testament, the Bible.
So we see the phraseology don't even match, right? So now you will have to say the concept is what matches, or he's just saying born, and then you got in the little thing again, meaning that that's an add-on or that's a thought after saying birth or born, right? But we see the biblical text just in the sense of what he put down there. For you must be born again. Except the man is born again, you must be born again. Thou will be born again. So just born again is his main point and what he's looking at. And this is where he's making his mistakes, because he's not dealing with the cultural precepts. He's not dealing with the mystery system lingo, or what you would call, phraseology again. He's not dealing with those concepts and recurring themes that the Bible is dealing with. He only brought us one from the pyramid text, right? Let's read on. So we see the pyramid text, it's not even going in detail about the conversation, but we'll see later when we read the utterance. Read on.
Okay, false plagiarized claim B. Shakka's claim 2a. The ancient Egyptian original, quote, Horus is risen. Utterance.
So what has he risen from? Has he risen from a chair? Has he risen from the ground, kneeling on his knee? We don't even know. It just say he has risen, right? So let's read on.
And this was from Utterance 388, 681a, the pyramid text, ancient Egypt, 2400 BCE. Now, B. Over 2,000 years later, the Greco-Roman Christian Judeo copy reworked from the Egyptian original. And
so once again, he's saying it was reworked from the original, meaning they took the fact that someone has raised or risen from something, and now when you read it in the Bible and it say Christ has risen, where did he rise up from? Going into the basket of fish, or what I'm saying? Where did he raise from? What is one second, what is the concept? What is the context in which one has raised from? Right? So if you're gonna make the claim once again that this is just plagiarized, then you have to give us more than this. Everyone on here claims to deal with scholarship. I know Jonathan do. Other people may look at it and deal with it, but they don't claim to be a scholar or deal with scholarship in a certain, context. Knows that this is bad scholarship. But we're going to read on.
Quote, now is Christ risen.
So.
And this is from 1 Corinthians 15:20, first century CE, i.e. AD, New Testament, the Bible.
Let's read on. Let's move on.
Don't be fooled by Shakka. Codex Game Over, a documented collation of the original ancient Egyptian African texts and the later biblical plagiarized versions.
So once again, he's making this claim. He's really pushing his narrative of his book. It's plagiarized from the original text. They went to the original text, took the concept, took the thought pattern, took the phraseology, took everything, and then put it in the Bible. Plagiarize meaning you really don't change much. So if the concept is changed, then you already know it's an error, as stated here, Codex Game Over error, or game error, because it is a game at this point. But read on.
Please don't be fooled by Shakka. He gives no cultural precepts or reoccurring themes during the time of the text in which he noted in
the text in which note. So he don't give us none of that. Bad scholarship, Shakka. He's similar to Lord Abbott when he was debating the myth maker, as he called him. He didn't have no references there. So let's move on. If you're gonna do this, you at least should have more than just phraseology. You should have references, and you should denote what exactly is being taken, not just a phrase. Read on.
Claim A, parenthesis A. Shakka's claim A. The ancient Egyptian original, quote, thou wilt be born, parenthesis again.
So now let's just skip down to my argument on it.
Okay, so this is Israel Doctrine's claim, claim A.
Albert's
claim does not tell us how it happened, etc., or gives us no cultural precepts or reoccurring themes. The Bible gives us more cultural precepts or reoccurring themes in the text that he noted in his work here, the pyramid text.
So once again, the Bible is giving us more cultural precepts. The people at that time may have believed or may have in their culture talked about the things in which Jesus and his disciples talked about in more depth. So when they was writing this for us, the Israelite part of it, when they was writing this, and then when others translated it, right, and put it into the KJV version, then number one, you would have to make the argument that King James, if you say the Israelite didn't write it, King James went to the original text and then fabricated this. Or if you say the Israelite wrote it, then the Israelite would have to go to the original source and fabricate it, which would bring about his claim of plagiarization, right? Read on.
Shakka's claims. Claim A, parenthesis B. Shakka's claim A, parenthesis B. Over 2,000 years later, the Greco-Roman Christian Judeo copy reworked from the Egyptian original.
And then we just gonna skip this because this is the same thing that I had up at first, you know, and then what he put up at first, just to show again what he was doing, just in case someone forget. But just for time's sake, let's move on.
All right.
Now we're gonna show the full text of the Bible, and where he says the Bible took these concepts or precepts, these recurring themes that he got from "Thou shall be born again." Parentheses, born again, right? Read on.
Claim A, parenthesis B, the Bible, full verse or verses in full. 1 Peter 23, King James Version of the Bible, being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of God, which liveth and abideth forever. End quote.
So now it's telling us how one will be born again. Thou will be born again don't give us a direct anything about how this should come about, right? Read on.
John 3:3, King James Version of the Bible, quote, Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. End quote. And we can move on now to John 3:7, King James Version of the Bible. Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again.
You must be born again. Not that thou art born again, because in the biblical sense, for one to be born again, it comes in two shape, form, and fashion, two concepts. That's to be the renewal of one mind, right? That's a baby coming out of the womb. You have to learn all over again. That's one concept. And the other concept is to be born from the dead, to go into the ground, quote unquote, Mother Earth, and to come out of her womb again. So when Nicodemus asks, can a man be born again? He asks, can I go into my mother womb and come out a second time? He understood the physical process. And then metaphorically speaking, or using the figure of speech in which he used, right? Using the figure of speech, you will see that one goes into the earth, quote unquote, Mother Earth, come out again with a new body. So those are the two concepts from a biblical aspect. I don't know the Egyptian aspect because Shakka did not put it in there. But let's read on.
Talking point that needs to be dealt with in its context. Cultural precepts or reoccurring themes must be dealt with in context. John 3:5, King James Version of the Bible. Quote, Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of what? Water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God.
So we see once again, it's giving us great detail. Read on.
Claim B. Shakka's claim B. Over 2,000 years later, the Greco-Roman Christian Judeo copy reworked from the Egyptian original. Quote, now is Christ risen. First
Just
Corinthians.
read another claim, please.
Sorry?
Just read right there, Shaka never.
Okay, so here goes here. He says here, Shakka never addresses the text in the Gospels about people being risen. This is just bad scholarship to hide the false, plagiarized theme.
Here's reality. Read on. Next.
Christ is risen. First Bible, then pyramid text in context. 1 Corinthians 15:20-22, King James versions of the Bible. If everybody out there is listening in or on YouTube, you can pause this video, take note of the biblical verses, and take out your Bible and read this information. If you want to see the pyramid text, there is a version of the pyramid text. All you need to type in Google is pyramid text, and it will come up as a website. It's Pyramid Text Online, and it gives you a translation and a transliteration of Unus's pyramid text. There is about roughly 10 different pyramid texts, but you will find the Unus pyramid text online. If anybody here is listening in and actually want to do the due diligence and research the information that is being presented, I implore everybody to actually do the research yourselves, okay? But I'm going to continue. It says here, 1 Corinthians 15:20-22, King James version of the Bible, quote, 20, verse 20. But now is Christ risen from the dead, and become the first fruits of them that slept. 21. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead. 22.
So now we know when it said risen, he's risen from the dead, or we're talking about death here. We're being specific, right? So once again, Christ is risen from the dead, right?
Right. 22.
By man came death, by man come also the resurrection. So we know that the resurrection is what's being talked about here. So if Horus is not being resurrected when he raised, then we know the context of the concept is not the same in which he's saying it was plagiarized or taken, right? Read on.
Right. Read on. Verse 22. For as in Adam all die, even so in Christ shall all be made alive.
And we know risen now denotes one being made alive, right? Or quickening from what? The dead. So this is what the Bible is talking about. I don't know if Shaka understand and comprehend that, or those that buy this book will understand and comprehend that. Hopefully they refer to this, and then they'll see what it is that one should take at least from the biblical text. If anyone is well learned in the Egyptian text, if they could come along and speak on this, or Shaka come along and show how this really correlates with each other, then now we got a conversation. Now we got an argument and a debate. Right now it seems as if we just got an argument, and it's not even a debate. One just want to argue something. But go ahead.
So this is the final page of your slideshow, and it says here, and Horus being risen, now pyramid text, and it is utterance 388, 68, 1a, to say, quote, Horus is risen, he escaped the combat serpent, behold end. 681b, name, or should I say N, is Horus, who escaped the combat serpent, hurry. 681c, parenthesis, as No messenger is given to him, parenthesis, and his boy is taken from him, parenthesis, and say, verse 681d, the serpent fouling with the phallus, 681e, Horus has smashed its mouth with his foot, parenthesis, or sole of his foot, end quote.
So as y'all see, reading the utterance, it don't sound nothing like the biblical text. And like I said, if you're dealing with cultural precepts or recurring themes, then he will have to show on the pyramid text that it's a recurring theme of Horus rising and what he's rising from, because this right here has nothing to do with death. It has nothing to do with being born again. It has nothing to do with the biblical concept, a context in which Christ, Peter, Paul, or any other disciples in the gospel or in the epistles. It's, like I said, we got an argument, but it's a dead argument. It's an error in the game. You better pull it out like the old Nintendo cartridge, blow it off, and see if you can put it back in and see if it worked then, because now we got an error.
Wow, this is amazing. This is actually amazing. I never actually saw this before. So Horus right now is rising because he's trying to escape the combat serpent, whereas Christ was being risen from the so-called grave, and it was a resurrection. It's two complete different resurrections, or two different risens completely. Wow. This is amazing.
And unless you want to say the serpent is death and then try to make the correlation, you know, in some shape, form, or fashion, which I say, which is bad scholarship, because Shakka didn't do that. Now, if you're reading PhDs and you're always dealing with people work that's thorough, then you need more than 40-some pages to your book. Even though he on Griop TV showed us the thickness of his book compared to Dr. Benz and other people. Look, we can say it's a book if you want to, Shakka, but you have to put more scholarship in your work. If you don't put more scholarship in your work, then you know you're leaving the people clueless. So with that said, that's my presentation. I'm gonna back up now. Hopefully other people can speak on what they feel about the presentation, what Shakka presented, so on and so forth. And if I could chime in every now and then, if somebody trying to wild out on me, I appreciate it.
Okay, let me just back up and say welcome to everybody who is just joined in. I see on the panel we've got some extra guests on the panel. We have Brother Gorilla Hebrew. Are you there?
Yes, peace. I'm here, brother.
Peace, King. What are your thoughts? On Shakka Ahmose's claims, first and foremost? Then I will ask you secondly. Okay. Do you think our brother Israel Doctrine has presented some valid information for us?
Okay. In reference to your first question, I think Shakka Ahmose's claims is outlandish. I feel as if, I mean, he claimed and he hyped this whole project up to being his life's work. And I had expressed something on the comments when he first, previewed the video on Sonetta TV. If this is your life work, that's a joke. It's 44 pages. There's 7 claims made. This brother Carl Albert just did a great presentation to answer the second question, debunking the claims that he was aware of because he didn't purchase the book. The brothers over at Gathering of Christ Church actually had the book and, debunked all of the claims. Something that the Bible talks about in the book of Exodus, the 31st chapter, is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And you have to have all 3 of those things in order to truly call yourself a scholar and somebody that has knowledge. I mean, somebody that is on a level to teach. You have to have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Shakka's book clearly shows he only possesses knowledge. And I'm going to show you what I mean by this. If you go to the blueletterbible.com, right, a lot of people use that resource. It's a good resource to look at the Bible, look at the Greek, look at the Hebrew online, right? If you go to the blueletterbible.com and you do a word search, it'll say your treasury of scriptural knowledge, and it'll give you every time a certain word occurs. Like, let's say you look up the word serpent. Every time the word serpent occurs. But every time the word serpent occurs, it's not talking about the same thing. Sometimes it's talking about an actual snake. Sometimes it's talking about it in a figurative sense. You see what I'm saying? But the computer program does not know how to decipher these things because all it has is the knowledge of every time the term serpent occurred and not the context in which serpent occurs and the different figurative meanings of serpent in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? So what Shakka did was exhibit his knowledge by saying, well, look, it says horse risen, it says Christ risen. But he didn't have the wisdom or the understanding of any of them cases in order to put it together and actually prove and substantiate his point. And that's the problem. Brothers have to have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But people who are outside of the Bible don't necessarily get that concept because they're not into the Bible, where it tells us it's those three things combined together in one that'll have you go the furthest as being a teacher and edifying the people. You see what I'm saying? So that's something that we got to get away from. And also, let's just entertain the fact, and we also have to factor in something about the actual translators that translated this, which were white people. You see what I'm saying? And the divisiveness of making a translation sound like the Bible, something that had already been published. You see what I'm saying? So there are various things that have to be factored in, and I don't see people factoring in. I see a lot of pseudo scholarship, and I see a lot of people marking out for Egypt. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem. If we're going to be scholars and we're going to call ourselves studiers of the PhDs, and what the PhDs do is if they put out some information and somebody puts out counter information debunking that and submits it to the community, they will no longer go into the information that they had that was debunked. Shaka's book has now been debunked by GOCC and now by the brother Israel, Dr. Carl Albert. His book should be obsolete. It should no longer be for sale, and he should stop going around parading it. But he's not. But of course he's not going to do that because he's not an actual scholar and he doesn't conduct himself as the PhDs he claims to follow.
Wow.
Do you believe in the Bible as a historical fact?
Yes, I do.
And do you have evidence for that?
I have plenty of evidence for that.
Could you discuss some of that with us?
I mean, where would you like me to start? Like what you're doing, you get. Well, actually, okay, I'll give you the first one. The Kibra
Hold up, child. One sec. Can we get other people to speak on this plagiarism thing, and then we can
begin other discussions? Yeah. That makes sense. I got something for you though, so don't let me forget. To the brother who asked me that question.
Chris.
All right, Chris. Yeah, I'm the Gorilla Hebrew, brother. After brothers chime in, we can discuss that. I have a few things.
Man, it's all good.
Brother Isa, are you there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there isn't much to say, really, is it? Brother Carl Albert just dealt with the matter. I think it's quite sad. I think a lot of people, maybe even Hebrews, were thinking like there would be a challenge. Sometimes we just feel like, I feel like a challenge in a debate. But it just seems it was so weak. It's like even the opposition's let down. Do you get what I'm saying? That's how bad it is. And as the brother Carl has just dealt with it, you know what I mean? That's how bad it is. So I don't know. There's not much more to say on it, is there? Really? That's what I think. I just think there isn't. In all the books I've read, that would be the sort of pamphlet you sort of give out for free or sell for £2, just as a introduction to something, to say, well, okay, here's something to look into as an idea that the Bible's plagiarized. Not to say, look, this thing here really shows and proves the point, because it definitely doesn't do that. So, it's been, as the brother said, maybe it should be taken off the shelves, because it really does it's not, whatever it said it's not in the package. So You know, it's just false labeling, really.
Hey, you lot need to stop this. You're making my heart cry right about now. My heart is
Hey,
hurting.
to be honest, if I had to break down the Bible, it at least 2,000 pages. At least 2,000 pages.
Hold on, 1 second. This is brother Shakka Ahmose. This is the Hebrew hunter. You lot can't be talking like this about my Shakka Ahmose. You lot can't be.
He's going hard. He is going hard though.
Nah. You lot can't be talking about this. I think this is a setup, man. This is a setup. You lot can't be talking about it like this. Like there has to be some type of, there is some truth in the matter to what he's saying, because I hear it resounded throughout the conscious community that the biblical text is plagiarized from the ancient Egyptian original. So I don't like the way you lot are doing, my man, at the moment.
Hey, can I say something real quick? Can I say something, please?
Go ahead.
I remember before the brother of his presentation, he was talking about how the Hebrews were into the mystery system. Can we get into that? I would love to discuss that.
Definitely, we'll get into that a little bit later on. We just want to stay on point, finish this section up, and then we'll go into.
We would like to know what you have to say about the presentation and Shakka work and his abundance of evidence or lack of.
Oh, I mean, honestly, to really think about it, to tell you the truth, if I was going to do an exposure of the Hebrew religion of what I know, and if I were to publish something, to be honest, the minimum of what I know, it would at least have to be 2,000 pages, to be very honest with you. It's a very complex subject, to be very honest with you.
So did Shakka did he do any justice with his book? Did he do any justice?
I mean, they haven't disputed it on the street. But if we're going to speak about scholars, I'm pretty sure no, not at all, to be honest.
Okay. So it's a sad state for Shakka Ahmose at this moment in time. Now Valley Movement. No. I'm part of Now Valley Movement. I've got to stick on.
I'm part of it too. We're going hard, but we got to be honest though.
Okay, so we have to be honest and say, Shakka Ahmose, this was not a game over for the Hebrew Israelites.
No, it was a game over for the Hebrews. But if we're going to get into the scholars, like if we're going to get deep, it's always been game over for the Hebrews. That's not even a part of the discussion. It's game over. If we're going to talk about like intellectually wise, then no, it has to be bigger. But no,
we're talking specifically Shakka Ahmose work now. You could give us the work, or you could get the work after we get through dealing with Shakka's work. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. So for us, his claims, it's not a game over. He was never on the court, on the field, in the ring, or whatever. You're
right.
He wasn't a schoolboy. Wow.
He's just making a statement like, I want to be in there, or I wanted to be in there. And then, as you say, some people kind of stumbled on the street because they didn't ever pay attention to it.
Yeah, and that's what's got to be understood. Because this dude came to the street, and you have to understand what it's like when we're on the street. We're not having all of our documentation and everything there. They hadn't read his book, so they're not even 100% familiar with all the claims in the book to really sit there and analyze it. But every brother that sat there and analyzed it was able to come up with a viable rebuttal debunking it. Therefore, you can't say it's game over for the Hebrews, and it's evident that it's not game over for the Hebrews.
Can I say something? Honestly, your statement, I do respect what you just said, and that is true. But to be honest with you, from what I do know about the Bible, is I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna say this real quick, if I can, Carl.
Go ahead.
From what you know about the Bible, and I understand people know various things about the Bible, and people look at the Bible from different perspectives. So what it's about, and what our goal as Hebrew Israelites is to do, is to teach you the Bible in its proper perspective, as opposed to a dogmatic perspective that's the general consensus of the world. You see what I'm saying? So I appreciate the fact that you said from what you know about the Bible, because there's some things about the Bible that I'm sure you don't know, and we would love to show you that may change your idea, or it may not. You see what I'm saying? But
hey, I'm always open, man. I'm open.
As long as you open, and as long as we could discuss, intellectually, that's great. We can build as brothers.
Okay, brothers, The show will be closing in literally 8 minutes. We can carry on any discussions after the show closes offline, but we want to round it up for an hour show directly. So I wanted to actually move this conversation on towards Nahisi. Nahisi, have you got anything to contribute? Okay, Nahisi is not here at present. Man, I wish Smash was here. I wish Brother Jonathan. I wish Sanjetti was here. I wish Ankh was here. The Real Black Atheist was here to actually go in on this. Surely they being members of the Amun-Ra squad, being members of the ancient Egyptian movement as such, the Kemetic movement as such, surely they will be here to back Shakka Ahmose's claims. See, I'm even tempted to back Shakka Ahmose's claims, but
they couldn't though.
Let
me tell you something about the Amun-Ra squad.
I'm backing
Because I know them brothers. I know the Amun-Ra squad. They would not stand behind sloppy scholarship for 1 second. And that's what that is. So they wouldn't stand behind it, period. I know Uncle Kek. I done sat up on the phone with Uncle Kek for hours on hours and hours. And Gozy, hours. You see what I'm saying? They know me, I know them. And we both deal with scholarship, point blank, period. And they will never stand behind this shit, man. Just to come straight.
And I already did expose your Unc the same way I did this when we was getting ready to deal with the Dr. Mayat debate, and we was talking about primary evidence, so and so. So check out my SlideShare channel. It's on the Israel Doctrine. It's some more stuff there. I even deal with some Israelites and different things there and different things that I dispute with other brethren about. But I just want to end my little presentation by saying that, once again, you have to deal with culture. And we as so-called African Americans or Africans or people that came off the continent of Africa or even the Hamitic lands, which Canaan is a Hamitic land, right? Which the Israelites did receive from God, no matter how they took it or got it. So for us pigmented people, right, quote unquote Africans, as people like to argue, we have to understand that black liberation is the key to our salvation. You know what I'm saying? Our deliverance from all the white supremacist lies and all the white theology in the washing of our doctrine, our text, whether it be Egyptian, Kemetic, or Israelite, or Islamic, or whatever, because as we stated and talked before, you know, it wasn't recorded, that for the most part, if you're a black atheist, you don't get respected by white atheists. If you're a black Hebrew Israelite, you don't get respected by the white Caucasian Jew, so on and so forth. So we, as I stated before, like I said, when recorded, we're dealing with the oppressed and the oppressors. And everywhere you look, the more darker you are, the more oppressed you are. The lighter you are, the more, you know, liberated you are in society, and the more oppression that you put on us darker skinned people. We can see this in the you know, the incident in Ferguson. You know what I'm saying? A black cop shoot a white child like that, all hell gonna break loose and there's gonna be something done. But they don't respect us as a people, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we have to look at the oppressor and the oppressed. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. So black liberation theology deal with any black people that's trying to liberate themselves through a theological conversation. And you know, whether you even go to an atheist conversation, which we know holds. But that's what it is, man. And I give Shakka Ahmose a thumbs up in the sense that he calls dialogue to happen about this matter. That's all I can give him credit for. He put a book out there and calls people to have dialogue about the matter, which it needs to be some dialogue about the matter. With that said, I'm through. You know, my brain is exhausted. But I'm ready to get into this game over that Christopher is talking about.
Definitely. So we're going to close up in a little while. Has anybody else got any last words to say as we end the show?
I I would just like to point out that in case Shakka or anyone else from his side could put something and say, well, that's volume 1, and therefore it's an introduction. Do you get me? It's like a little taster, maybe to bring out everyone else like us, Israel Doctrine, who are all saying all this, and then he's coming with a smashing thing, which is going to be part 2. I don't know. I'm just saying it's called volume 1, and as far as I remember,
that is wishful thinking, and I hope that is the case. I really do hope that's the case. This was just merely a taster, something just to get our taste buds tingling, something to cause some type of excitement, some controversy. But from the time he said this is his life work and produced 44 pages of, how can I say, copying and pasting and incorrectly referencing the work, I doubt anything of substance is coming out. Personally, I rock with Kemet, but I have to be honest, brutally honest, and say I am ashamed of what he has done. I have to. Me myself.
Can I say this real quick?
Hold on, one second. I've gone into the Madunita itself to see the claims that he's making, and it doesn't actually add up. So I'm kind of depressed at that fact. I'm actually depressed that he hasn't actually laid forth his methodology inside of his book that we can now go forth as scholars, as researchers, to see if his conclusions or his thought pattern was right in the first place. And he hasn't actually laid forth a sum, laid forth a logic, laid forth a syllogism, laid forth an A plus B equals C. He just makes random claims that is not backed up. He just collated. That's exactly what it is. It's a collation of 2 pieces of information, and we're supposedly meant to make the deduction that one is from the other. And I have to be completely honest and say I don't see it. I really don't see it, and I'm upset that I can't see it, because I like the brother Shakka. I like what he's doing. I like the controversy he's bringing. I like the fact that all the way into the UK, people in the UK are actually paying attention, researching their religion, whether it's Islam, researching their Christianity, researching their Hebrew Israelite information, and they're coming to some type of an awareness, some type of consciousness, and they're actually purchasing the book. They're supporting the brother. But there is nothing of substance within his work. This is upsetting to my soul. Go ahead, brothers, talk.
Was it Gorilla Hebrew, man?
Real quick. Hold up. Can I just ask this one question now? Now, with Shaka's claims being debunked and Kemet having nobody to come and provide viable information for any of their claims, are any of you guys going to leave that ideology once it's being proven time and time again to be obsolete?
Hold on, wait, hold on. Shaka's book, seriously, that book ain't got nothing to do with the historical factor of Kemet. Let's not get that twisted. Let's not get that twisted.
But it's dealing with its correlation to this whole claim that everybody has about the Bible being plagiarized.
No, the Bible is plagiarized. That's Shaka.
Okay,
let's not do that.
But everybody, listen. Y'all keep saying it, but nobody has proved it. This is what I'm saying. When are y'all gonna prove it?
I'm here right now.
You know what? We're going to go into this when the show closes. We're going to actually call up the Harmon Ross squad. We're going to get everybody involved with this conversation, but this is going to take place off air. Okay? The select few that are in right now, stay in. We're going to get the Harmon Ross squad involved, and we're going to have this discussion.
Let me just say this once again.
Go ahead.
To have it on this recording. That if you say it was plagiarized from the original text, then you have to show where one went to the wall of Kemet, the primary source, right? Or got the translation of that primary source and then just stole it, right? So if someone did take, right, this conversation that was on the walls of Kemet somewhere or on the papyrus somewhere and start talking about it, and then someone took it from there, then they didn't take it from Kemet, they took it from somebody that took it from Kemet. So you have to be very precise that whoever wrote this text that you saying is being plagiarized went to the original and plagiarized it from that. Now you might say, let me just say this, you might say it was plagiarized, but if you can't show exactly where it was plagiarized from, then once again, hey, and then as Shaka like to say, he like to say, well, if we have to turn in a research paper or whatever, and then you have the same thing that I have on my paper, then I plagiarize your paper. No, if you have a subject matter and me and you're talking about the same subject matter, we're going to run across similar phraseologies within that conversation because we're talking about the same thing. This is what we're going to get into after this, dealing with the mystery system. Because we're dealing with the mystery system, you're talking about the mystery of God and how man goes from man to God.
Let's get that mystery.
Okay, brothers, please, everybody speaking over each other. I'm going to have to stop everybody here and say, whoa, it seems like this conversation is not finished. There has to be a round two, part two popping off. Please get everybody who is involved with this type of thought, with this type of conversation, involved for the next show. But for now, this is me, Callum L, and I'm signing off. This was the talk with the Titans, Shakka Ahmose versus our brother Israel Doctrine. But we're logging off right now. Peace and love, Black African power. Peace.